But since we're on this, let me grab something real quick?
Go ahead, grab. Go ahead. He's leaving. Now it's just me. Here we go. We got another book. Oh, yes. That's why I started to stack all this stuff. Yeah. So we got something recently. And we're just taking a moment because I feel like sometimes we don't take time to we just want to acknowledge the generosity of the people that support the show and the different ways you do it. And I want to say one more thing. Listen, folks, I read a couple of the emails from the Jimmy Dore membership Gmail account, and a couple of people felt like that if you are tight with money, you know what? Please don't donate to this show. We have a lot of generous donors. And if you're tight with money, I think the alternative is to tell a friend right now that we're streaming live. Recommend the show. Recommend Ron's show. Recommend my show. I don't have one yet, but you could still recommend it. I have a show.
Recommend that you want it to happen.
Yes.
If the people demand it, she will deliver.
So anyways, Ron, what's this thing? This is fantastic.
So this, and I know you guys have heard this story off mic, so you have to, but this is called the propaganda game. And, here we go. This is, it's kind of like the shiny is. All right, so this is called the propaganda game. This originated in the 50s.
What?
Yeah, but this is like a revamping of it. There's these two gentlemen out of Iowa, and Mike and Buzz, and they actually went through a bunch of data and they redid the game, and it's available online for free. And you can play it and you can look into it, and it's basically, it teaches you propaganda techniques. And what was a show that they used a lot of to gather their resources for it? The Jimmy Dore Show.
Oh my God!
So they show up. They emailed me a while ago, and they emailed the show too, and I forwarded it to everybody. And they mentioned wanting to meet us. And I responded. I was like, yeah, let me know if you're ever in LA. So they showed up to a show that I was on. They showed up to a show I was doing in Burbank, and they gave me 3 copies of the game, one for you, one for me, one for Jimmy, and they kind of explained it. And there's a little document that they gave us too that's down below, where they write out all the propaganda techniques that we've exposed on the show in different clips that we've done. And all of our names are in it. It looks like an academic paper. All of our names are in it. It's really neat. They're doing some very interesting work. So please, Google propaganda game and you can find it. And these guys are just, they're kind of doing it out of love for the concepts. And we'll have to play it sometime.
I like it already. So there's a chart that's included in, and it says clear thinking chart, quasi clear thinker, semi clear thinker, occasional thinker, weekend thinker, holiday thinker. You know what? That is fantastic. Robots, rationality, turtle, Greek, turkey. So, anyways, what a great concept.
I never knew the game was a thing. Like, I never knew it was a thing that existed, but yeah, it's been around for a long time. They revamped it. And one of the gentlemen, his dad worked with Ralph Nader back in the day and stuff. So they have interesting backgrounds they're coming from. They're computer programmer guys, and they're just kind of rebuilding this thing. They're trying to get it into classrooms.
Well, it is, so, when we would teach an Animal Farm, they would really talk about, that's one of the elements that you want to highlight and examine for kids is propaganda. It's a great unit, and this kind of thing would really enhance that kind of experience in the classroom, I think, but right now what I was looking at, and these kind of things are great because I had this moment, what's your weakness? Right? What's your weakness? And they have techniques of exploitation. Here's the and this one works all the time on me. Flattery. Immediately somebody says something like, wait a minute, let me go, what?
That's a very good point, and you're very funny and bright and awesome. And here's some lies. Right? Well, maybe you're telling the truth.
And then let me see, there was one more that caught my eye, and it's I'm doing my best on Chuck Schumer right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's over 50 some techniques. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And I guess we've exposed a bunch of them, according to these guys.
This one is called, I like that it says, what's your weakness? Appeal to pity. Oh, my God. Appeal to pity. That's such an interesting one. Mm-hmm. And then there's another one that did it say appeal to ridicule.
Yeah. Sergeant on the first day of class, having made a certain statement, is asked an embarrassing question by a member of the class. Preferring a cheap victory to an honest discussion, the sergeant replies sarcastically, I am afraid, Private Jones, that I cannot understand what you mean. You are too deep for me. He then goes on to the next one. I feel like that's one that is really used often in contemporary American politics.
Yes.
How often do, like, they're asked a direct thing and it's hard and they don't want to give a straight up answer, so they like say something self-deprecating, or say, even in that clip we just did on Obama, where we were talking about like the gentrification of Chicago, and how he's basically screwing over the South Side, and when he was asked about it directly, he didn't have a good answer, so he's like, "Oh, I would get 20 agencies coming after me if I did that." And he said, "I'll tell you what, I've been in Chicago for a long time, and nobody ever said this is the problem." And he kind of poked fun at himself while also kind of saying, "Hey, social justice organizations, hey, community organizations, get bent. My center's going up. I don't care about the consequences."
So when you and Jimmy were doing that article, I was doing a little research about it, and what I discovered was, I think the area was designed, and there's like a science building that's there that was built like in the late 1800s, and when that building was built in that particular area, they had decided that would be the only focal point of that area. Now, the Obama library was initially just going to be a library, and then it expanded into this huge kind of like, it's going to have a garden and it's going to have a sports center, and it was supposed to be the only focal point legally for them to put that particular area. So I'm curious how that's going to go down. I really hope that the library is undermined and thwarted when it comes to that, because there's no access to housing. That one woman that spoke to him and said, you know, my mother and my children and I live in an apartment right now for only $1,000, and I think, you know, affordable housing is the way to go right now, and it seems like nobody in positions of power. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about, the propaganda, and Jimmy is in the room, was they talked about folksy appeal, and that couldn't be more than what you always see from these the politicians, that kind of like, listen, I'm so earnest, I kind of have a folksy, you know, twang, and you gotta believe
I'm
me.
someone you want to have a beer with. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, and there's over 50 some techniques, and I feel like I hope that they succeed and that this does get in classrooms, and it's one of the many cool things that people have sent the show.
Yes. So
here's another cool thing people have sent the show.
Jimmy Doe is in the house.
The Jagoff mug. By Jagoffs for Jagoffs. Coffee for Jagoffs.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream, Jimmy Dore live stream. Let me get the logo. It's going to swing by.
Oh, that's nice,
Yay.
JD.
Tim Collins put that together. Isn't that nice?
The Italians, we
don't do that
CIA.
now, though. We don't mess around other people's elections, Joe.
Only for a very good cause.
Can you do that too?
And the
Why is that funny?
And the news person finds that funny.
That was
That's how you know she's not a news person. Go ahead.
That was appeal to ridicule, by the way. We got to catch you up. We got this game that some listeners submitted called the propaganda game.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were talking about it before you got in. That was an appeal to ridicule for everyone that was here at the beginning.
And
They
it's
talk
just
about
hilarious.
Fine video on us, former CIA director.
Former CIA director. We're doing the exact thing we're accusing everybody of doing. Anyway, it's really funny. Bye.